guys, so today we're going to take a look at my XS front spoiler. Those of you guys who have those know how weak they are and prone to damage. Most of them are damaged. Mine, as you can see, is missing that center vein down at the very bottom. I've cut it away effectively and just sealed off the corners to give those little winglets, but as you can see I tend to damage it quite frequently, and I think I'm on my 4th or 5th repair. So today I'm going to look to repair that part again for the 5th time, maybe, whenever it is. But I'm also going to integrate another vein, which is down at the bottom. Now, if you've impacted yours already and lost that center section, then you're kind of in a bit of trouble. So what do you do? How do you go about getting a replacement? So I'm going to use an S-type vein, and we'll get onto that in a bit more detail in a minute. First of all, I'm going to reconstruct the area that I've managed to lose, probably somewhere in the countryside. I'm using Isopon P40, which is effectively a filler that's got I think fiberglass in it. It's particularly useful because all you do is effectively mix it with the hardener. You get a decent compound that dries rock hard, and it lasts quite well. It's been quite resilient as long as you get enough overlap onto the good product behind it. There is zero flexibility in this when it cures, so yeah, obviously any impacts it's still going to break off in exactly the same way, but chances are that the damaged area isn't going to get worse. You only break it off up to the point that it was repaired. And my intention is that the bumper vein that I'm going to be installing in a bit will add to the structural rigidity of the area. So let's take a look at how this sets. I'm just using a cardboard section behind it to provide a bit of shape. That's been taped to the front, and just roll around where I want the winglet to be. There's nothing really magic about that. It's just masking tape and cardboard. And onto the bumper vein. This is the middle vein, the center vein, that sits inside the S-type from 99 to 03 lower grille. What I've discovered is it's quite a bit longer than the X-type one, and as a result, if you've snapped off the majority of your front splitter, it will actually sit in the gap that remains. Obviously, you've got to make some cuts and make some changes to the section that it affects, but well, the ground has probably already done that for you with your existing splitter, so cutting a little bit more out isn't exactly going to ruin your day. Here what I'm doing is just correcting the amount of fiberglass that I set earlier, so just trimming it to fit, trimming it to the right shape, because obviously you add too much to it, it's always possible to take back, but it's rather a bit more difficult to add on. And I'm just getting the shape right for the splitter itself to sit comfortably. Once I've done that, we can mock it up and see what more we have to do. So I'm making some cuts in the side of the little winglets. That's just to accommodate the bumper vein or the Edam vein from the S-type in the edges. There's going to be maybe a couple of millimeters of overlap between the vein and the insides of the winglets, so you're not going to have a lot to work with on this particular one, but it's going to be enough just to provide enough of a hold to keep the vein there, and also I will be bolting it in position further up. Obviously, if you are cutting into fiberglass, which I'm doing here, you need to make sure you're wearing the proper PPE. Protect your eyes, protect your lungs. Chances are you don't live with your mum, so you've got to look after yourself, alright? So now, having made our primary cuts, it's possible to faux fit that vein and just make sure that it's going in as far as it needs to. Now you can see there, because of those tabs which exist on that bumper vein, that you can sort of get a feel for how much more play you've got. I can see that I need to go in a little bit further on that one. And that's the nice thing about those tabs. They act as standoffs, so they give you a visual representation of where you need to be on the vein itself. The other nice thing is that, as you'll see in a minute, there is also a central locating tab, and that central locating tab allows you to make sure that you are lined up perfectly with the center. and you can see now when I fit this, I'm getting a perfect match. So that locating tab, which would probably serve a purpose on the S-Type, now works to give me my height reference and obviously locating in terms of far forward enough on the splitter. What I'm also going to do is bolt it upright a little bit, just to give it a bit more support in the centre. We've got 2 of those positions to bolt through. So now that I'm happy with the alignment, I'm just going to put some more of this Isopon P40 in there. It just effectively covers the area and traps the bumper vane in there. Keeps it held pretty well. I can't see there being any issue, but obviously we're going to bolt it as well. So once this is cured, we'll go ahead and do that. But we can put plenty in there. It acts quite well. Again, the surfaces have been keyed prior to this, so it should stick quite nicely. But it just gives us a firm base. I would like to think a little bit firmer than your standard body filler. And once this has been given some time to cure, about 15 minutes, we need to get on, drill the holes, and get the vane itself bolted up to the rest of the splitter. I'm using a galvanized steel bracket at the very top, and I'm just running an M5x50 bolt through with a nylon nut and a couple of washers just to hold it in place. This is going to hold it securely together so that if you did contact anything in the lower corners, it would actually hold itself together a lot better. There are multiple points of contact. Also, this is a higher quality product effectively than a fiberglass, because you've got ABS plastic there. It's OEM ABS plastic, which is known not to shatter as much. So yeah, all in all, it's just a better quality alternative. And bolting it together here with stainless bolts, it's going to take an awful lot to break it all apart. Now I've also decided whilst I'm here, I'm actually going to lower the number plate. It's something that I've never been totally happy with, the location of the original plate. I've always wanted to lower it a little bit. A couple of people have done this already, so this is what I'm going to do now, given that I'm going to be painting part of the bumper anyhow. So let's go. If you use a 5mm drill, then you'll basically just take the heads off the rivets. It's not going to totally take the lot out, so use a pair of pliers behind just to compress the remainder slightly, and then you'll be able to pull off the plinth, number plate plinth. Now, I'm actually going to use that plinth because I'm not entirely sure how else I would be mounting the plate in that position there. But I figure that in using that old plinth, it is already number plate shaped, and I'll be able to cut something into a usable alternative and flip it upside down. So that's what we're going to go with there. And as if by magic. Now, as far as number plate backing holders go, that's not too bad considering that it's free, because otherwise it'd be chucked anyhow. It's not bad. I'm using some old X-Lyte brackets as well from some universal fogs I bought years ago. They're just aluminium, they bend to shape quite nicely in a vise. So yeah, between us we got some easy way of mounting that plate down low, and overall quite happy with the quality of that. So here's the first lot of bumper fill going on. It's a slightly flexible plasticky filler, if you like, and yeah, it works quite well. It's an HB product. The reason I like it as a primary is because it's got really good adhesive properties. It sticks very, very well to whatever I'm putting it on, but also because the filler that I'm going to use later is a lighter colour, so I'll be able to see the difference between that and this. It helps me just catch any low spots. But yeah, for all of these holes that are in the bumper from where the number plate holder was positioned, those are all getting filled with the bumper fill. There's a little bit in there behind as well, which sorry I haven't videoed in this instance, but it just gives a firm base to work off, so you shouldn't get any drop. And while we're waiting for the first lot of this to cure, I'm just going to turn my attention to the lower vane and cut off those lugs which aren't needed anymore. So having sanded back the bumper fill, I have now added Isopon P38, which is beige in colour, so it stands out quite nicely against the grey of the previous filler. That just makes it a little bit easier. So now having done all of that, we can just take a quick look at it. I mean, overall I'm pretty happy with it. I've had to do some filling within the vane itself and reinforcement of those winglets, but all in all it's not too bad. Those original mounting points for the lower vane I've used to disguise the bolts that are going through to support it, and you can see there the number plate brackets as well and how they are supported by sort of flat washers, if you like. Quite happy with the position, quite happy with the amount of reinforcement that's within the vanes, and it's just a case of tidying it up a little bit. The fill on the front is not that great, but then the actual bumper itself has been quite badly sort of bent and twisted and reshaped by the addition of that plinth, so yours may be the same, unless it's just the previous owner of my car that didn't know where it started and finished. This should be strong enough to hold that lower vane in place, it really should, and since it's lifted slightly out of the way of the original vane, I think it's going to be less susceptible to damage. On to paint. Honestly, when I bought this car, I wasn't really a massive fan of the colour, but it has really grown on me, and I really like the way it comes out. Obviously you can see that my filler work on the winglets isn't particularly great. I probably could have put a little bit more effort into it, but given that I was doing this in a day, I didn't really have a huge amount of time. So there you go, all the work's been done in a day, including getting the bumper off. I'd say it's turned out pretty well. You can see some deflections in the bumper, but it would take an awful lot of filler in there, and I know others have suffered similar issues. Yeah, the winglets could do with a bit more work, but yeah, as I say, done in a day. Not too shabby on the result. I'm very happy with it. So would I recommend you give that one a go? If you've smashed up your original XS kit spoiler, then absolutely go for it. And if you made it this far, congratulations to you. I'm now going to ask you to like and subscribe, but by all means add your comments below as well. It's always helpful, and enjoy getting the interaction from you guys. So crack on, and thank you very much for watching.